adding and subtracting integers. This video is part 2 of a pair of videos to introduce students the concept of combining integers or signed numbers. Part 1 was to master addition of integers, while this part 2 is to introduce subtraction of integers. Examples are presented and then discussed in detail, after which you will be given drills for both addition and subtraction of integers for mastery. But before we continue, it is assumed you know how to add integers. That's part 1, the concept of opposite of numbers, aka additive inverse, and the concept of absolute values. Don't worry, we will recall these basic concepts as we go along. If you want to go and review part 1 first, or you are confident enough to skip to other parts of this video, you can click the timestamps in the description below. Let us quickly recall addition of signed numbers. From our previous video, we know that when we have the same sign, we add absolute values of those two numbers. And then, second step, copy the common sign. Now also from the previous video, when we have different signs, we subtract their absolute values and then the bigger sign wins. Okay, let's apply these by using our examples here. Let's say we're given 2 and -5. Take note, we are adding. They have different signs. One is +2, the other is -5. What do we do according to our guide? They are different. We subtract their absolute values. So get the absolute values of both. Pero syempre, subtraction yan, mauning mas malaki. 5 minus 2 is 3. Now, we're not yet done because the second step tells us after subtracting, choose the bigger sign. Meaning, as you can see here, negative is bigger than yung positive because this has an absolute value of 5, this has an absolute value of 2 only. So negative sign wins. So copy this sign. Therefore, you now have the answer. Okay, next, let's look at the next example. Let's say we're adding -1 and -7. Take note of their signs. They are both negative, therefore they have the same sign. And what do? We add their absolute values. So adding, we have 1 plus 7 is equal to 8. Now, second step, a very important step 2, copy the common signs. So meron kang negative, therefore, ang final answer mo, negative pa rin. And you have the answer, it's -8. Next, number 3. 5 plus 9, of course we know, is 14. But of course, you can still use our technique here, okay, just for checking if our technique can really work even in this very simple problem. We're adding, as you can see, positive and positive. They have the same sign. And according to our technique, what we want to do is add their absolute values. What is the absolute value of 5, 5, and 9? 9. 5 plus 9 is 14. And then, second step, copy the common sign. They're both positive. The final answer is positive. However, you know that you don't need to write that positive sign kasi kahit wala, it's still positive. Therefore, the answer is simply 14. Last example in our recall. We have -6 and +8. We're adding again, but they have different signs. When you have different signs, what do? We subtract their absolute values. That means we subtract 8 minus 6. Syempre, mauna yung bigger. So 8 minus 6 is 2. And then, that's the first step. Second step, choose the bigger sign. In this case, the bigger sign is positive. So positive wins. So the answer is +2. But you know you don't really need to write positive there. Kahit wala, you know it's positive. Therefore, the answer is simply 2. Now that's how we add signed numbers. Now, how do we subtract signed numbers? Good news! Unlike in addition, where we have 2 cases to memorize, here in subtraction, we only have 1. Another good news, if you already know addition, kayang-kaya mo din itong subtraction. What do I mean? Okay, now according to our notes, subtraction, the very first thing to do is to convert to addition. What? You don't know how to subtract, therefore you convert to addition. Makes sense. Now, second step, proceed to addition. Oo nga naman. Subtraction, you don't know how to do it. You convert to addition, and then since master mo ang addition, you can now proceed to addition. Now, the tricky part lang here is, how do we convert to addition? Now, let me continue reading. You convert to addition by adding the opposite of the subtrahend to the minuend. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Best way to explain it is by looking at some examples. Let's say we're asked to subtract number 1, 5 minus 2. Now, I know, alam natin ang sagot, the answer is 3. But what we want to do, just like in addition, is what if we apply this concept? Does it work kahit we have a simple problem like 5 minus 2? Now, please bear with me. Medyo matagal itong unang problem pero mabilis na mamaya. Okay, let's try and convert. Convert daw to addition. And how do we do that? So, lalagyan ko ng equal sign. 5 minus 2, yung 5, gagawin nating addition. Plus 2. Ganun ba yon? No, that's not the correct way of doing it. May rule tayo. You convert to addition by adding yung minus, magiging plus na. By adding the what? The opposite of the subtrahend. Ano ba yung subtrahend natin? Take note, this 2 is our subtrahend. Let me label this fast. Okay. To the minuend. Saan ba yung minuend? Itong 5. Let me label this quickly. So, what do we mean? We add the opposite. So, yung minus, naging add. What is the opposite of the subtrahend 2? The sign of 2 here is positive. Therefore, to convert it to its opposite, this should be minus. And then, write 2. So, that's what we mean by adding minus, naging add. The opposite of the subtrahend, yung opposite ng 2 is negative 2. To the minuend 5. Now, we continue. Please bear with me. Kayang-kaya natin to. Matagal ang una. Since na-convert na natin to plus, edi madali na because we have mastered addition already. So, adding, we have 5, that's positive, and we have negative 2. We're adding different signs. What do we do again? We add or subtract. We subtract. So, get their absolute values and then subtract them. Meaning, 5 minus 2, which is 3. And then, ano yung next step? Get the bigger sign. Ano bang bigger sign? Positive or negative? Positive wins. So, the answer is positive 3. But of course, we know, hindi natin ilalagay yan. Kailangan lang is 3 and that is enough. So, that's how we convert from subtraction to addition. Now, that took a while, pero sige. Let's use a faster and better way of converting because minuend, subtrahend is medyo confusing for some. Now, the trick here is to get the opposite and the opposite. That's your clue. What do you mean, sir? Opposite, then opposite. Okay, let me try and solve the same problem using this technique. So, copy 5 minus 2. And how do you solve that? Convert opposite and opposite. Copy our minuend first. Don't ever change anything sa minuend. And then, minus, what's the opposite of minus? It's plus. There you go. It's now plus. And then, opposite din nito. What's the sign? It's positive 2 here. Therefore, this should be negative of 2. There you have it. So, ulit, opposite of minus is plus. Opposite of positive 2 is negative 2. And then, we can proceed with addition. We are adding positive and negative different signs. Therefore, we subtract their absolute values. 5 minus 2 is 3. And then, we know positive wins, therefore, positive 3. So, remove that. It's much simpler by writing just 3. And you have the same answer as the previous. Now, I know kailangan natin ng mas marami pang examples. Okay, here we go. Let's look at example number 2. We have 5 minus negative 2. So, don't use our first technique. Simply use opposite na clue. Let me copy. We have 5. Don't ever change anything sa first term, sa minuend. And then, convert opposite. What's the opposite of minus? It's plus. What's the opposite of negative 2? It's positive 2. So we simply write 2. Ulit, opposite of minus is plus. Opposite of negative, it's positive. Therefore, we end up with just 5 plus 2, which is equal to 7. Okay, opposite, opposite. Okay, let's have some more. What if this time we have negative 5 minus 2? Again, we convert since this is minus. So copy the first number here, the minuend. Don't ever change that. And then opposite, opposite. What's the opposite of minus? It's plus. What's the opposite of positive 2? It's negative 2. Therefore, you have this. Again, let's check. Minus becomes plus. Positive 2 becomes negative 2. Now we proceed to addition. We are adding negative 5 and negative 2. Same sign, different sign. Same sign. Therefore, do we add or subtract? We add. So adding their absolute values, we have 5 plus 2 is 7. And then copy their common sign. They're both negative. The final answer should be negative as well. So the answer is negative 7. Okay, last one. Let's say we're given negative 5 minus negative 2. It gets a little more confusing, pero again, just think of the clue, opposite, opposite. So let me rewrite this. Negative 5 here, we copy. Don't ever change that. And then, opposite of minus, it's plus. And then opposite of negative 2 is positive 2. So ulit, minus becomes plus, negative 2 becomes positive 2. So it's now in addition. Therefore, we can now add. We have negative and positive. We're adding same sign or different sign. Different. Therefore, add or subtract. Subtract. So subtracting their absolute values, we have 5 minus 2 is 3. And then bigger ang negative sign. So negative wins. Therefore, the final answer is negative 3. So that's how we use opposite, opposite in trying to convert from subtraction to addition. Let's have some exercises. Bring out your notebook and pen and try these 4 questions. I know some of you may have your own technique nung elementary in subtracting integers. You may actually use them. However, kung meron kang constant carelessness using your own technique, you might want to consider the method we presented here in this video. Remember, by merely trying, you are already learning. So you can pause this video now and try them. Kaya yan! Go! Let's answer and discuss these questions. So, this is 6 minus negative 8. This is subtraction. We have to convert it to addition. Now, how do we do that? Using opposite, opposite. So first, copy our first number there. It's 6. And then opposite, opposite means opposite of minus. It now becomes plus. Opposite of negative 8, it becomes now positive 8. So, plus na siya, we can proceed with addition. Doing that, we now have 6 plus 8. The answer is 14. Since they are both positive, the final answer should be the common sign. Therefore, the answer is simply 14. Next number, 6 minus 8. Again, this is a minus. We have to convert subtraction to addition. Much more familiar with us. So 6, you copy that. 6. And then opposite, opposite to convert. Opposite of minus, it's plus. And then opposite of positive 8, it's negative of 8. Ulit, minus becomes plus, positive 8 becomes negative 8. It's now addition. Therefore, we can now proceed. We're adding 6 and negative 8. Same sign or different sign? Different sign. Therefore, add or subtract? Subtract. So 8 minus 6 is equal to 2. And then check, bigger ang negative, therefore this should be negative. Negative should win. That's the final answer. It's negative 2. So far, so good? Continue. Negative 6 minus 8. Again, we have minus here. We have to convert subtraction to addition. So copy first our first number, negative 6. Now again, we use opposite. What's the opposite of minus? It's plus. What's the opposite of 8? It's negative of 8. Therefore, we have converted. Checking, negative 6, you copy. Opposite of minus plus, opposite of positive 8, negative 8. We can now proceed to addition, a much easier operation. So we're adding negative 6 and negative 8. They're both negative. Therefore, same sign, we add their absolute values. So doing that, adding their absolute values, 6 plus 8 is equal to 14. And then, which sign wins? Walang mananalo because they are the same. Use their common sign, which is negative. Parehong utang, ang sagot utang din. So, negative 14. Last, negative 6 minus negative 8. So, copy negative 6. Don't ever change the sign of the first one. And then, opposite. Opposite of minus, it's plus. Opposite of negative 8, it's simply positive 8. Check natin. Opposite of minus is plus. Opposite of negative 8 is 8. So we now proceed to addition. We're adding negative and positive. They are different signs. Therefore, subtract their absolute values. 8 minus 6 is 2. The bigger sign is positive. Therefore, the answer is positive 2. You don't need to write the positive sign. So that's how you answer these questions. Now, let's have some more. This is a video na marami tayong drills. So, kailangan practice lang tayo ng practice so we can master this. We're now ready to answer numbers 5 to 8. So, kaya yan? You pause this video. Go! Let's answer numbers 5 to 8. Again, let's convert and use opposite to solve this one. However, para mas mabilis, let us not rewrite the whole thing anymore. Instead, let's do this. So, 8 minus 6. Opposite of minus is plus. Then opposite of positive 6 is negative 6. So, in the end, it's just 8 plus negative 6. We are adding different signs. Therefore, you add or subtract. You subtract. 8 minus 6 is 2. The bigger sign is positive. Therefore, the answer is simply 2. Okay, that was quicker. Now, let's try this one. Negative 8 minus 6. Convert. Opposite. Opposite of minus, it's plus. Then opposite of 6, it's negative 6. In the end, we're simply adding negative 8 and negative 6. They have common signs. Therefore, add their absolute values. 8 plus 6 is 14. And then, copy their common sign. Both are negative. The answer should also be negative. Therefore, the answer is negative 14. Mas mabilis, ano? So, instead of rewriting everything, you use two lines. One is to convert from minus to plus, and the other is to get the opposite of that number. Next, negative 8 minus negative 6. Again, opposite. Minus becomes plus. That's the opposite. And then negative becomes positive. So opposite of minus is plus. Opposite of negative is positive. No need to rewrite everything. In the end, we're simply adding negative 8 and positive 6. So different signs. Therefore, we subtract their absolute values. 8 minus 6 is 2. Then bigger sign is negative. Therefore, negative wins. The answer is negative 2. Last one, we have 8 minus negative 6. Opposite. Opposite of minus is plus. Opposite of negative is positive. In the end, we're just simply adding 8 plus 6. So 8 plus 6 is 14. Common sign is positive. Therefore, we have this answer. So, much better? Let us solve 8 more exercises. But this time, convert from subtraction to addition the quicker way. Still use the clue, opposite, but try not to rewrite everything anymore. You can pause this video now and try them. Kaya yan! Go! Let's quickly answer this. Convert, we have to use two lines. Minus becomes plus, opposite, and then positive becomes negative. So in the end, 4 plus negative 7. Different signs, therefore, subtract their absolute values. 7 minus 4 is 3. And then, as you can see, negative is the bigger sign. Negative wins. Therefore, the answer is negative 3. Next, so convert again, this is subtraction, make it addition. And then opposite of 5 is negative 5. In the end, we're simply adding negative 6 and negative 5. They have the same sign, so add their absolute values. 6 plus 5 is 11. And then they have the common sign negative. Therefore, the answer should also be negative. The answer is negative 11. Next, this is minus again. Let's convert. Use two lines to convert. Opposite of minus, it's plus. Opposite of negative, it's positive. In the end, it's just like asking 2 plus 10, which is 12. So ganun pala, no? Pag nakakita ka ng minus negative, it's just plus. You can cancel these two negative signs. Or you can say, you can cancel this minus and the negative sign. The answer is 12. Next, convert minus becomes plus. Negative becomes positive. So in the end, you simply have negative plus positive. They have different signs. Therefore, subtract their absolute values. 7 minus 1 is 6. The bigger sign wins, negative wins. Therefore, the answer is negative 6. Next, negative 8 minus 10. Convert minus to plus. Then opposite of 10 is negative 10. Their signs are the same, therefore you add their absolute values. 8 plus 10 is 18. And then copy the common sign, negative. Parehong negative, ang sagot negative din. Therefore, the answer is negative 18. Next, minus becomes plus. Negative opposite is positive. So it's just like adding negative 7 and 3. They have different signs. Therefore, we subtract their absolute values. 7 minus 3 is 4. The bigger sign is negative. Therefore, negative wins. The answer is negative 4. Next, minus becomes plus, negative becomes positive. We now have negative plus a positive value. Their signs are different. Therefore, we subtract their absolute values. 5 minus 1 is 4. Then the bigger sign wins. The bigger sign is positive. The answer is simply positive 4. Last, 8 minus 8. Oh, come on. Kaya na natin yan. It's 0. The answer is 0. Okay? I hope na master na natin ang subtraction. In our next exercise, pagsasamahin na natin ang subtraction and addition. And let's see kung kaya pa rin natin. Now answer these last exercises. Remember to convert only yung subtraction, okay? You can pause this video now and try them. Kaya yan. Go! Here are the answers. I hope you got them. Sa dami ng exercises natin, baka kaya na rin to solve majority of them mentally, which is dapat naman talaga. We should be able to solve this without writing anything on paper. Hopefully with our examples, exercises, we fully understood adding and subtracting integers. See you sa next video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Happy solving!